Okay, Kaz wants this thing written up. Looks like V Tires has some new radial tires coming, but oh, looks like Alden Pate is coming to town and he has some new downhill bike to show me. I think I should probably go check that out first. So let's hit the trails and see what he's got. Alden, what's up, man?
Yo, dude, how's it going?
Up in Squamish, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
What's this thing? This looks like an e-bike, not a downhill bike.
Yeah, this is the Crestline e-bike, but it's got a couple modifications to it to make it a downhill bike.
Okay, well, yeah, let's get off this busy road, and I want to hear why you built this thing up as a downhill bike then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, Alden, we're here with your downhill bike.
Yeah.
Can you give us the rundown on why you went with this bike?
Yeah, totally. So Crestline's downhill bike is kind of one standard size right now, and it's a 480 reach. So I'm 6'6", so that bike's a bit too small for me. So we decided to go with the e-bike and kind of do some modifications to it to make it race ready for the season.
Okay, wicked. So what are we looking at then? You've taken the motor out, obviously.
Yeah, so battery and the motor are out of the bike. We've got kind of a dummy bottom bracket style, so it bypasses the motor and makes it so we can just mount conventional downhill cranks in it. Yeah, we have kind of a cover for where the motor would sit, and then we've just got a threaded English bottom bracket that can go in.
You've got some other stuff going on there too?
With how we've designed it, we can strap weights to it, so we can still kind of play around with the weight and the weight distribution of how it would be if it was actually the e-bike. On top of that, we've got updated links designed by Cascade Components that take it from 180 to 200 mil of travel. We still have the flip chip there too, which allows us to go down 10 mil, so we could also be at 195, but I've just kept it in 205 so far.
Okay, right on. And this frame differs a little bit than the downhill bike, the VHP. This isn't a high pivot.
Yep, yeah, totally. So this isn't a high pivot. So we've got the O-chain on there to kind of just combat some of the pedal kickback. It's kind of still standard VPP system, but it's just not going to be the mid pivot that the downhill bike is. So yeah, this bike is the RS 181.2. So it's the e-bike that any consumer could go and buy, and yeah, we'll be racing it on the World Cups.
Rad. And you've got some other features up top. There's obviously no screen to connect to the motor here. What's the plug-in going on there?
Yeah, totally. So where the DJI screen would sit, we've got Jenk Components making us covers. So he's made a variety. We have just the flat one, and then I also have the option to run a Garmin there, which just offers some options and a pretty cool feature to have on the bike.
So you have a bit of a working relationship with Crestline. Can you tell us a little bit more about the brand and sort of how they got started and where they're going?
Totally. I rode for them back in 2023 when Troyden had released, I guess, 2 bikes at that point. And then I just in the last 2 years, I kind of always worked for him and always went on the occasional ride with him. And yeah, so it was kind of a no-brainer when they were talking about starting a team and wanting to do some more downhill racing. So I just, yeah, big fan of the company and everything they do. And I honestly think they're some of the best bikes out there, so.
You're obviously super tall. You've got some high bars. You've got a couple other adjustment pieces on the bike. What are we looking at for geometry of this bike?
Yeah, totally. So we've got, I guess, starting just with the reach, we have a +6 headset in there. So it's gonna be 5'11" reach. And then what's really cool about the bike is we have everything from 435 to 465 in chainstay increments. So I can kind of customize that depending on track, kind of conditions, or even just the riding style. So right now I've opted to the 455 chainstay, but I think depending on the track, I could go up or down. So.
Yeah, right on. Because that's not too long. Like you've seen other bikes even getting towards 460, 465. Reese Wilson's talking about going even longer than 470. You're 6'6", you're running 460, 455 chainstay with an MX wheel. Would you think about going even longer you mentioned, but like what about a 29-inch wheel? What would that ride like?
Totally. Yeah, I've ridden the bike as a 2.9 a couple times, and I'm just kind of feeling it out. Like last year's bike was a mullet, so I'm pretty comfortable in that setup. I don't think I'll discount it as an option for the World Cups, but I think it's just right now, have it as similar as my last year's setup and then go from there. And also the 200 mil links are gonna add 5 to 6 millimeters of chainstay. So I have 455 right now, and then it kind of makes it more towards 460.
And what are we looking at for the overall weight then? Because this wheelbase has got to be 13 something.
Yeah, so honestly, when we first put the bottom bracket in, took all the e-bike components out, it was just over 40 pounds. So it was pretty sick to be in a spot where we could actually go from there and add weight if we needed to. So I've put 1.5 pounds, strapped that to the actual bottom bracket, which is, I've found just kind of stables the bike and makes it ride honestly like the e-bike. So right now we're looking at probably 41 to 42 pounds.
So what is it about the weight of an e-bike that people like? Because they obviously don't want to keep the motor and battery. So there's like some give and take between the perfect balance.
Totally. Yeah, I think like all of us who have ridden an e-bike notice that it just has an insane amount of traction. And I think with the weight distribution that the e-bike has, especially being low in the center of the bike, it honestly can feel sluggish to the rider, but honestly, I think it has a ton of benefits of traction and stability. So I think just figuring that out and having the option to toss the weight as low and central in the bike as possible really allows us to have kind of be able to adapt to any track, whether it's got flat corners that we need to have the stability and the traction, or if we need a more nimble bike, we can take that weight out.
Okay, so we talked about the weight and the extra little add-ons, but I also noticed you got some more weight up front with the Tune Mass damper. What's that like to ride with? I haven't actually tried one myself.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I've got the 3 hot topics when it comes to racing, the weights on the bike, a mass damper, and an O-chain. But I've kind of found that it just kind of settles the front end of the bike down, and it's obviously super popular among all the kind of top racers right now. But I found for myself, it just allowed me to push harder when I was kind of pushing that 95 to 90 or 100% in a race run. So just kind of stabilizes the front end and allows me to kind of give the extra percent in a race run.
Okay, wicked. And do you notice that it's off center at all? Like,
no. I should probably have it center mounted, but I've ran it on the right side of the bars and the left, and I don't really notice it too much to the side. Try to keep it as central as possible.
And so yeah, we talked about overall weight. It is pretty light for an XL or double XL bike. What are you running for components? I see quite a bit of carbon stuff on here.
Yeah, so carbon frame, and then we've got carbon wheels from Reserve. I'm just a huge fan of them, reliability, the performance, like being able to show up to a race weekend and know that you're not really gonna go through any wheels and you've got the performance and the durability. So Reserve wheels, 1-up hubs, 1-ups doing cockpit, stem, bar, and then also the 1-up clip pedals, which are new as of last year. So
okay, I want to rewind to the wheels for a second. Obviously downhill casing tires. Are you running inserts, and how do these wheels compare to other carbon wheels you've tried in the past?
Yeah, totally. So I have no inserts right now, downhill casing tires, and I've just found the Reserves to be the perfect level of kind of stiffness with some flex. And especially now with the new 30 wheels, they're running 28 hole in the front. So I think that's gonna add a little extra compliance. I think especially with how fast the tracks are these days, like having that extra stiffness is honestly better in my opinion, especially for being, like I'm 220 pounds. So I've never found to have like a limitation on flex or.
Yeah, I mean, there is a give and take there depending on what frame you have it matched up with too.
Totally.
And even the tires.
Yeah, moving on, we've got full SRAM kit on the bikes. So RockShox suspension, SRAM drivetrain, Mavens.
Cool, and then one thing that stood out to me last time we chatted over Crankworks, you were running organic pads. You still have those in the brakes?
Yeah, no, I kind of changed, and I think it is track dependent. Like obviously if it's super like a mudder or a wet race, I'd run metallic front and rear just to kind of can keep those pads from wearing out over the whole weekend. But for the most part, I'm on metallic in the rear and then organic front.
All right, run us through the cockpit setup, because that's one of the more interesting spots on the bike. You got some wild angles and figures going on there.
Yeah. So I've ran the 1UP 50 mil bars the whole season and just found that that's kind of my favorite bar out there. Uncut 800 mil width, and I've got 10 mil underneath the stem.
Okay, great. They don't even look out of place. Like 800 mils usually looks pretty wide, but
yeah,
50 mil rise, 800 wide looks pretty set for the bike.
Yeah, honestly, like even in clips, I'm like, if I could run them a bit wider, I think I would, just with the proportions of my body and the bike size.
What would be ideal width then? Would you have you played with moving the grips out or anything?
Yeah, I've moved the grips out 10 mil and like, I think it's pretty sick, but I think the tracks at this point maybe are the limiting factor, like just with some of the trees and things like that, like you wouldn't want to go too wide. Honestly, I'm pretty standard in the fork. I have 190 PSI in the fork, 1 volume spacer. I run compression pretty centralized. I think I'm running, depends on temperature, but 8 to 10 clicks of rebound from closed.
Yeah, temperature is a factor, hey?
Totally, yeah. I've found, especially with the RockShox, the temperature affects the fork for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're out here in Squamish today and the dirt looks good. The sun's poking through the fog, but it's definitely chilly. So,
totally.
Yeah, I gotta open it up a little bit when it's this cold. And then what about the rear shock?
It's gonna be the same shock that's on the eBike. We've gotten to 200 mil of travel just by using the links, and the stroke remains the same. We've played around with some of the tuning. Right now, I'm kind of in between a C37 and a C40 for compression. And then everything else is standard for the e-bike. So the rebound tune is gonna be the R55, and compression, I'm pretty in the middle, just like the fork.
Okay, and you got a coil?
Yep. Yeah, I've put the coil on. I think it works the best with this setup right now. I haven't honestly done too much testing of the air shock yet. I ride it on my e-bike right now, but with the links being different and a lot of things kind of changing, I want to put a little more time on it, but as of right now, like having the coil, it's been really insane and honestly no complaints. So I'm gonna stay on that for the first couple races, and when I get some time to put some testing on the air, I will do that. So. Okay,
so just to recap, who's helping you out this year?
So we've got 1UP in reserve, Conti, and SRAM, RockShox, and then obviously Crestline. Crestline's the title sponsor, and it's, yeah, so sick to do something with Troyden, just being in our local riding community and being in Bellingham. And yeah, I'm just super stoked to be kind of riding these frames again, because I rode for them in 2023, and yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm stoked for 2026 and beyond with them.
All right, where are we gonna see you racing this thing in 26?
Our team is a wild card World Cup team, so we're gonna apply to as many World Cup races as we can. Hopefully we'll get into as many as we wanna do. And then alongside that, we're gonna be doing all the pro downhill races and then some crankworks here and there, and I'll probably try to do as much racing as I can.
Wicked. Well, yeah, we'll be watching out for you, looking for this thing on track. Good luck out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.